At Bunker Hill, you can eavesdrop on a conversation between two caravan guards, one of which reveals something quite strange.
You know, my rifle belonged to my grandpappy. Bravest son of a bitch that walked the wealth. That's a fact. He used to make the odd cap back in the day by gathering mirelurk eggs by the beach.
Bullshit.
No, it's good money if you're quick enough or good with a gun. And he was both. But he stopped doing it for good the day he saw old Peg. With his own 2 eyes. Old Peg? Is that supposed to mean something? You don't know of old Peg? You've covered enough miles to know firsthand that radiation ravages all living things in its own way. But no one wonders about the deep blue sea. So one day, my grandpappy was egging. It was a foul day. Fog so thick you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. He was stumbling along and then he heard a tremendous clamoring. From the ocean. Like nothing he'd ever heard before or since. He stood still for a long time. The fog cleared for a brief moment, and that's when he saw the outline of the great behemoth. Massive. Bigger than anything you or I will ever see. Old Peg. A giant blue ghoul whale. A ghoul whale? Yeah. As the fog gathered, he saw that great beast emerge back into the deep. And my grandpappy fled for the first and last time in his life. Ask any of the old-timers, and they'll all agree. Old Peg, right outside the harbor. Dark and ominous things swim the deep.
According to the guard, the blue ghoul whale is real. But no matter how hard we search the harbour for Old Peg, we don't find anything, and there's a few reasons for that. An in-game explanation is that Old Peg was never real, and Grandpappy actually saw something else. Remember, visibility was poor, and he didn't stick around either. He caught a glimpse of something in the ocean, and then ran away. Now something large, capable of surfacing and diving that isn't a whale or any other type of creature, must be a submarine, and this theory is quite popular. I'm sure you already know of the Yangtze, a Chinese submarine currently stranded in Boston Harbor. No longer is the vessel seaworthy, and Captain Zhao has had no other option than to wait for help. But every now and then, he surfaces for supplies, and this puts himself, his crew, and the sub at risk of being seen, so it's likely he only ever does this when visibility is poor, say, during a foggy spell. But it was during one of these outings where the submarine was spotted by Grandpappy. I don't believe this theory because it's too convenient, and whales do exist in Fallout, or what's left of them anyway. Along the coastline you can find whale skeletons, one of which may belong to Old Peg. Then again, maybe not, as you can also find the corpses of a different aquatic creature. One, I believe, is a good candidate for Old Peg. These creatures are a slightly mutated version of some type of river dolphin, which are related to whales. And let's say that one of these creatures, thanks to radiation, both grew in size and became a ghoul. Ghoul creatures do exist after all, so it's entirely possible that Old Peg is a giant irradiated dolphin, a creature that, at a glance, in poor visibility, could be mistaken for a blue ghoul whale. But I have a different theory. These creatures are classed as toothed whales, as are other dolphins and porpoises in the cetacean family. But I suspect Old Peg wasn't a giant version of a river dolphin, rather a different type of toothed whale that doesn't really belong in the area, a creature that stood out to Grandpappy, a creature that was worth mentioning, and that's a beluga whale. Beluga are found mainly in the coastal waters of the Atlantic Ocean and adjacent seas, but also in rivers and deep offshore waters too. In recent years, there have been 3 confirmed sightings of beluga in Boston, with the most recent and the most famous sighting being a young male beluga named Poco, who was actually found in Boston Harbor, and Old Peg may be a reference to Poco. Poco was spotted in 2014, and Fallout 4 came out a year later. The reason I think Old Peg could be a beluga whale isn't just down to Poco. In fact, it's due to the way certain locations have got their names. Think No Vacancy becoming Novak, or Be Careful becoming Arafu, and Big Mountain becoming Big Empty. And something similar could happen with how things sound. So I believe Grandpappy didn't say giant blue ghoul whale, that's just what people heard. What he actually said was giant beluga whale. As for the clamoring sounds he heard before the creature surfaced, that could be a coincidence. Containers falling from a docked ship, rusted hulls grating together, or a large creature thrashing to get through the sunken wrecks. Over time, the story of Old Peg changed. Details were lost or misheard, and the tale turned from a giant beluga whale into a giant blue ghoul whale. And I believe this theory is closer to the truth than the other theories mentioned thus far. Although it's possible Grandpappy found a dead beluga washed ashore, then witnessed the Yangtze subsurfacing for supplies, which he thought was a giant sea creature. These details were then shared with the others, that is, a beluga whale and something giant in the harbour. Those details were then twisted over time into a new tale, one of a giant beluga whale or blue ghoul whale sighted in the harbour. But I still think Old Peg is real, because Fallout 4 has a cut quest called 20 Leagues Under the Sea. The quest would take place after completing Here There Be Monsters and repairing the Yangtze submarine for Captain Zhao. The player would then join forces with Zhao and sail the submarine over to Vault 120, a Bioshock-inspired vault. The weirdest thing about Vault 120 is the Overseer was going to be a giant sentient squid. But the thing I want to talk about is the fact that the quest image shows Vault Boy trapped at the bottom of the ocean, and just outside the window is a creature that could be Old Peg. We don't know what role the creature would have had during the quest, if any, but certain whales do hunt squid, including beluga, and since the Overseer is a squid, then perhaps the Overseer was being hunted by Old Peg and needed saving. Though that's just a theory. And in the end, the creature has yet to be seen in the flesh, meaning this mystery has yet to be solved. Be sure to show your support by liking the video and subscribing if you haven't already for more Fallout content. If there's anything you'd like to see in a later video, leave a comment and I'll see what I can do. With that said, thank you, as always, for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.